Hola, YouTubers. How are we doing tonight? Back again with the daily how to tie. Today I'm going to be doing it right there. That's what I'm going to be doing, a size 16 blue winged olive. And actually, since this is for my big order, when I say big order, I've got 113 dozen to tie. I just finished up here about a month ago. I just got done with the 200 dozen order. And the guy liked my flies so much that he ordered another 113, and he's going to order 50 dozen twice after this. So I finally found a shop that really likes, not finally, I finally found a shop to tie for, period. But this guy really likes my work. And that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? At least in my life. I mean, I want to make sure that it's just nice, because this started as a hobby. I promised myself that I wasn't going to production tie again, but here I am doing it, because that was the opportunity that was placed before me. And in this day and age, you can't go turning down opportunities like that. So anyway, I'm doing a size 16 blue winged olive nymph. And I'm going to get the hook and the vise here in a minute. Possibly. As long as I get cooperated with, we'll be there. There we go. See, my problem is I got such big fingers and stuff that I have a hard time picking up smaller hooks. And a lot of you guys might be like, oh, that's not small at all. Well, to me it is. So anyhow, there we are. And right away I'm going to go ahead and lay a thread base. Get that going. And I have a tension bobbin that I turn the tension pretty high on. So rather than the thread just coming out as I'm tying, I have to pull down on the bobbin to get it to come out. And I'd rather have it that way because I like having the tension on it. What's nice about a tension bobbin is you can set your bobbin down like this, and it doesn't creep and hit the table, and then you have to sit there and wind the spool back up to get started again. And, you know, excuse me, much less of a headache. Anyway, that's done. Okay, and this is going to be for the order. And they use mallard flank for their tail, which makes sense. I used to use them on dries, but then I found out through research and a buddy of mine that what happens is mallard flank on a dry fly, the mallard will actually soak up water, therefore making the tail not want to help float things. So then I started going to pheasant tails. And I bought micro fibbits too for my dry fly tails, because I tie a lot of mayflies, and the mayflies only have 3 little fibers for a tail. Anyhow, you put the mallard flank in, catch it, and you want to tie it back to right at the very back of the shank, which the shank is the top of the hook. And that's where I got it to. And I'm going to wrap the mallard flank all the way up front. And as you've heard me say many times before, if you're a follower and you keep watching me, I like to keep the materials, tie them the whole way to the front. That way I'm building a body, and therefore I'm wasting less materials, because materials are getting expensive. I don't know if you guys know how much wood duck is nowadays, but it has gone through the roof because of the bird flu, and because of the price of license going up, and because of the price of the flatlands that allow you to hunt on there that are near the waterways where the ducks come off over your head. So I paid $150 for 360 mallard or wood duck flank feathers, which literally, it wasn't all that long ago that you could get maybe 30 feathers for $4. I just ordered some from Dakota Angler, and I paid $4 for 8 feathers, I'm sorry. And then a buddy of mine sold me 360 for 150. He cut me a deal. So if you guys are going to be tying with wood duck flank, be prepared to open your wallet. And I tied in the wire. Sorry, I got ahead of myself yapping. And now I'm going to break out blue winged olive dubbing. And in this part, you only need the littlest bit. And I mean literally just the littlest bit. And the reason why is because you're only going about not even quite 3/4 of the way up the hook with dubbing. And it's a size 16, so it's going to take just a few wraps to get it where you want it. And I don't know if you guys have trouble dubbing stuff or making a dubbing noodle. If you do, I like to wet my finger a little bit and then rub it between my finger and thumb just about till it dries. And you spin it on and you take your time. And when it comes to putting dubbing on the hook, less is more. As you'll see, put it on little bits at a time, and you can barely tell that that's a noodle because it's barely bigger than the thread itself. This is 110 denier or 8/0 Semperfli classic wax thread, which is a really nice thread. So now I left a little space up there so I could wrap back. Catch it right towards the back, and don't worry about if you get a little wrap here and there on the way back. It's not a big deal because you can fill in gaps. So I'm going over top a little bit, and the reason why is because of the taper in the fly, as you've heard me run my mouth about many a times on these flies. And I'm going to come to about there, and I'm going to go back over again, trying to build a taper, and then I'll stop right there, and I'll wrap a few times around that and stop. And then we take our copper wire, and I'd say you want to get at least 3 good wraps so it looks right. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And the way I like to do things is I like to wrap the wire around the thread once because I've already caught it. You know, that way it's already caught. And then give that 2 or 3 good wraps. And then get in there with a pair. I use wire cutters. You guys can use however you want. A lot of people will just helicopter it off, spin it until it breaks. I don't like to waste the time doing that, when especially production time. I just like to cut it and get it over with, like that. Well, I'm catching the head of the hook. That doesn't help. There we go. Now it came right off. So there's that. And then where you cut, you're going to want to take, you're going to want to take like some kind of a metal tool. And at the end of this bobbin, I have a piece of metal here, and I'll go like this. And where I cut that, I will wrap it towards. Yeah, I need to cut that again. It stood right up. That was odd. That's not happened yet. There it is. Now I've got it wrapped in tight. So at this point, you're going to want to tie a piece of thin skin, like you can get gator back from the Flysmith if you want to. www.theflysmith.co. You can use Kylie's Nymph skin. There's a lot of stuff out there. I use baby bugback right here on this one in particular. I use baby bugback from Fly Tires Dungeon because I like the color. I like the feel of it. I mean, I would be using Bryant or the Flysmith, but when I cut mine, I cut it a little bit thicker than what's going to work on a size 16. So I didn't feel like cutting it back down again because that can be a booger. Trying to get it thinner, you might screw things up a little. And you want to take and you want to wrap this back to where you're up against the body again. And you want to make sure it's right. And I like to take a couple more securing wraps because sometimes it'll pull out on you when you're trying to pull it forward. And I'm going to go back one more because I saw a little bit of a gap right there. Now we covered the gap. Now you're back to the dubbing again. And this one you can use a little bit more because you're building up your thorax. And the way they want this one tied, they don't want any hairs sticking out on each side like a typical nymph would be. They just want the head and the wing case, which I thought was strange. And I'm still waiting. I messaged the guy and said, hey, you sure that's what you want? But that's the picture they sent in the book they have of what they wanted. So, I mean, when you're working for somebody, you got to do it their way. And I'm glad they did send me a picture because I would have done it with the fiber sticking out of each side because that's what your typical nymph looks like. But he says down in his area, the girl I spoke to down there, she said, the pictures I'm sending you are flies that we need for this area. I was like, okay. They're not that far away from me, but, things vary from spring streams to limestone streams. There's different entomology, which is the bugs. Like a limestoner will have stoneflies in it. You won't find stoneflies in a spring-fed stream unless it's real close to a limestone, and they've managed to work their way up a little bit. It just doesn't happen. And anywho, I got that tied in and caught. I'm going to pull this up, snip it, and then I'm going to build up a little black head in front here. And it's not going to matter because I'll cover all that with black resin. There it is. So now the whip finish. There it is. I don't want that in there, though. That white that got in there can come out. Don't do this, please. It's okay. I have a cauterizing pen that can get that, but I just got it out anyway. All right, so we're nice and tight right there. Snip. Okay. There it is. That, my friends, is a blue-winged olive nymph. I'm going to do one more step, though. The UV resin, you want to make sure you have very sparse amounts on your brush, and make sure there's none sticking on the shaft above the brush, because it'll drip down and put a big drip on it. And then you just kind of want to give it a little dab or dooney. There's that, and I'm going to cure it quick. I think my battery's getting low on this, so I'm going to have to change that soon. It runs off of an 18650, and I've got a pile of them because I used to be in the vaping community, and I did reviews, like 70 reviews. Okay, and I'm going to put some on the thread as well, staying away from the eye of the hook, because you want the fishermen to be able to get their tippet through the eye. And there it is, all done and cured. And what I'll do, like I always do, is I'll take it out and I'll put it in a pair of tweezers and put it up closer to the camera and let you guys take a gander of it. I really do hope that these videos are helping you. There it is. That is a blue-winged olive nymph in size 16. And I'm going to move back just a little bit, because when you look at it, the tweezers are making it look like something got a little screwed up, which it didn't. That's a really nice nymph. And that will catch fish, for sure. Okay, so where's my little box? Right here. There's another one. Okay, I'm going to close this up. And I just wanted to thank you guys for watching. I've been getting quite a few views lately. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. I had a comment from some schmuck. Sorry to say that, but he's like a novice tire. And I was like, maybe, but I've got, over 300 coming up on 400 flies ordered from a fly shop that loves my work, so whatever. Anyhow, much love to you guys. If you like what you saw, please like the video. And even more importantly, if you're watching, subscribe to me. It's free, and I appreciate you guys very much. God bless. Have a wonderful day.